Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so now we're on to vlog part 3 on our flipping from scratch. So, welcome to Flipping from Scratch, volume 3. Now, at this point, we need to start talking about, we kind of set the stage, then we decided, hey, this is what board and book looks like. Now let's take some raw video that we've actually taken for flipping our classroom and let's do something with it. There's a variety of things that you actually can do, but let's talk about just a couple good practices. First of all, I'm going to minimize myself here and put me over here, which, by the way, super easy way to put your face anywhere you need to put it on the screen so that you can examine something else. So for example, I can show you my YouTube stuff. So here we go. We're going to expand this guy out. And this is the raw video. Now I'll put a link in here. I had a link in the last vlog as well, but this is it. Now I have the volume turned off so you can't hear me. But what we have going on is we have my face over to one side, much as you see here, and then I use my document camera to create notes. So over here, I'm going to do a couple demonstrations with my phone to connect with the kids. Then from there, we go ahead and I used a manipulative using some coins, practicing some coins, showing a little probability, getting the vocabulary going. Then we moved on to another demonstration with some candy that I had for probability of different colors. Now, one advantage to using video over an in-class demonstration, because none of those demonstrations that I used in this video are any different than anything I would use in class, except for the fact that the students could clearly see exactly what was going on, because everybody had an up-close and personal view. Additionally, with the video, if they wanted to run it back, they could. All you have to do is run it back. Now, with YouTube also, for those students that are more self-paced, those students that you kind of feel a little bit more independence, with YouTube you can change the speed on it. And one thing I learned about podcasting is almost every podcast is increased in speed by about 10%. Because when you're reading something intentionally versus when you're speaking normally, the speed is about 10% difference. And that's even true for me, and I speak fairly quickly. So I let my kids, hey, 1.25, you want to watch me there? That's very reasonable. You start getting into 2, I'm moving a little fast for you. You're not going to be getting all the key information. Now, something else you may notice, there's kind of some sound in my background right now. I'm kind of leaving it because this is a vlog format that's very informal, but also because it's totally in all of my teaching blogs. If you have a cat, if you have a dog and it barks, as long as it's not interrupting the instruction, leave it. Because the whole point of this is to get this relationship as tight as you can. In some sense, seeing what's behind me, you get used to it. Hearing my kids or hearing a dog or whatever it is, all those things are part of the process. Now, another thing that I did was, you'll notice I took a number of notes here as I went, and they could clearly see the notes. But just in case, because a lot of students watch on a fairly small form factor, like on a phone or on a small tablet, so they may not be able to see everything you're doing on screen super duper well. That's why it's always good to put your resources in a variety of situations. So let's go ahead and take a look. The first thing it is, since you already have a document camera, all document cameras either have a button right on the document camera, or there's a software option, an opportunity in the software for you to take a screenshot in essence and take a picture of that document. So that's exactly what I've done. I have taken pictures of the notes that I took. Now, I'm going to cover my face up for a moment. And so I have each of these documents that are exactly the things I made when I went with the video. For those students that have concussions, that can't have a lot of screen time, these are great for printout, and they can listen auditorily as well. So actually, I was a little concerned with concussion and flip. Really less of an issue than I thought it would be. But one thing you need to make sure that you do, and that is make sure that you are naming your documents correctly. So for example, BPA, Basic Pre-Algebra, that's the class that it is. Probability is the topic. Part 1 is the name of the video, Notes 2. So I need to come over here and rename this one, and that is BPA Probability Part 1. This was the first page of notes, so it's Notes 1. Okay, so now I have all 4 of these documents. So I have the 4 pages notes because I actually did 2 lessons so that you'll see a little bit later. The next thing you need to do is you need to figure out a way to organize, because here's the deal. If you're going to create resources, the next big step, okay, the next big step after decide what you're going to do, 2, create some resources, 3, you need to figure out where are you going to put those resources. I've put them in a variety of places. The very first thing I do with all of my resources is I put them in my drive. So I'm going to go over here and I have my folder opened up. I have one for each class for each year, 18 BPA 1. I'm going to add some new files, and so file upload, and I'm going to go grab my files from where I needed to grab them from. Flip from scratch, and I'll grab these 4 and open, and there they go. Now they're on Google Drive. Now I can go in and I can set the settings to be either particular to me or open to the class. Now this is also something you can determine. Do you want all your resources available to the students all at once, or do you want to chunk it up so they can only get it at certain times? One key component though, no matter what you do, make sure you get those share settings such that they're exactly what you want. So if anybody wants to see my notes, search the internet for them. For math, heaven forbid they learn some math, so I set my share settings to public. And from there, everybody can see them. I can now copy that link right up there, and I can put them in a variety of places. So let's finish this video up by showing you where you can possibly put them. I started my flipping career using an LMS. An LMS is a learning management system. Now this one happens to be Canvas, but you could have Haiku. You could even do Google Docs. Not Google Docs, Google Classroom. Google Classroom's getting better, but Google Classroom started kind of more as a social site, and it's a classroom. I don't love it, but if that's what you use or if that's what you're required to use, totally work with it. It's easy. We can work with it. But Canvas, very powerful, used in a lot of higher education institutions. It's very good. But as you'll notice, let's take a look at a module here. This is a particular chapter. It's a group of modules, and everything is arranged very linearly, and that's fine. So here's the content. Here is the notes for it. Here we go. All right, so each page is a different section. So in that section, I have video content, I have some notes, and then a lot of times I would have some sort of quiz or something that comes after, or I have the next section. So it's nice, but it's very linear, and the students, they tend to lose track, especially those students who are not as independent as learners. Now, there's other things you can do with this. Something else that you could do with this is you could create a learning map. And all of these resources that you're putting together can be organized in a mind map or a learning map, and we'll get into that a little bit later too, but it's an option. I'll tell you where I'm at really kind of right now though. Right now, I'm just putting it in a slideshow. Now, it's not a slideshow in the sense that there's much words. In fact, if you will notice here, there's not many words over here at all. It's really just a bunch of symbols. So think of the idea of a hyperdoc where you have one document with a bunch of links. In this case, these are just graphical links that take me to a variety of places. So, for example, let's look at the latest here. This is an Edpuzzle. I love using Edpuzzle. We'll also get to that in a different vlog. So there's my content. Here's a infinite math practice tool that I love. Zach Korzik, Delta Math, super shout outs. If you don't know him, Mr. Delta Math is, I believe, his Twitter handle. He's awesome. It's a free program, totally worth your support. It is definitely community funded. But the other thing you can see is those notes like I'm doing here, you put them right into a graphic, you link them, and now the students can have it. The nice thing about having a slideshow is this entire slide deck, it works in essence like an online book, but you can put absolutely anything you want in here, And with a quick little graphic from the internet or a quick little graphic that you make, you can put any sort of content you want in here. In some of my other classes, we use actually different videos like that I'll grab off YouTube or I'll grab podcasts, whatever. The nice thing about Google Slides or PowerPoint from Microsoft is that you can put some visual organization in on this. Use little pictures, put a link behind them, and it takes you right to whatever it is that they need to go to. So all of the resources are always there 24/7. So once you have decided what you're going to teach, number 2, you've created some sort of content. The next thing is make sure that you're making the most use of that content by getting a hold of those documents and making sure that those documents are available for students to get to so that they have visual, they have written, they have auditory. We're hitting all those areas of learning, not for multiple intelligences, but simply for multiple paths to learning. And then again, the big thing, you gotta organize them. So from there, we're going to move on and we're going to take some of this basic footage and we're going to kind of break it up and we're going to do a little bit more to it.